Welcome back to Bare Knuckle III, the director's cut.
And now a motorcycle
level.
Yes, this is actually the level that was deleted from the final version.
Because
the guys who made well, they didn't actually manage to finish it in time for the release too.
Now we're fighting Storm.
However, the awesome guys who made this hack did go to the trouble of finishing it using the still existing in-game assets that were still in the cartridge. There you go. Fortunately, all the data that was necessary to finish this properly were still left in the final ROM, so the fans were able to finish this level, because in the normal final version we skip to the section that comes after this. So,
I mean, it's also a bit of a pace problem. Like we ended the previous level with Adam rescuing everyone in a helicopter, and now all of a sudden we're actually on motorcycles.
Well, the idea there is that we're riding our motorcycles towards the place where
Adam pointed us to, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the idea. I think it is, at least. Alright. The basic idea is that with the motorcycle, you just kind of press the attack button to basically hit the other enemies with your motorcycle, and that's basically it. It's basically a battle of attrition between you and the enemies, really. There you go, see? And that's basically the.
Oh no, Dad, what happened?
Don't worry. Don't worry. Fortunately, even if they do that to me, it doesn't kill me. It just takes a bit of my life, and I automatically return anyway. There you go. See. So don't worry. You're fine. And they're all called Storm in this section, apparently.
There's a storm approaching.
I guess. I mean, oh come on! You couldn't even come up with a recaller of Storm to name Lightning or something.
Well, considering this wasn't finished, I get the idea that they only had already one enemy type, and it was just the Storm enemy.
Probably.
I mean, we are literally playing cut content here.
Sure. Oh well. I still appreciate playing something that's a bit closer to the original vision.
Hey, especially because we actually get to hear another track for Yuzo Koshiro. Always delightful that.
Oh yeah.
Also, why are they humping their bikes?
It's the way of attacking, Libs. It's just not conveying properly on 2D plane.
I guess the idea is that they're punching sideways while doing it.
Not to mention,
I'll give you like a shoulder tackle.
Not to mention, Libs, you're a Mad Max fan. You should be used to people doing weird things with their vehicles. So.
But not humping them.
I don't know. I wouldn't.
One person has done that.
I wouldn't put it past those bad guys to do it, Libs. To be honest.
Yeah.
Maybe I like Max 4 if it ever gets made.
Libs, you mean 5 because Fury Road was 4.
Yeah, sorry. I like to wipe the third one, my bro.
Still happened.
And there you go. Basically, the final game starts this round in this section. There you go. So now we're back to finished territory.
Against more ninjas.
Yes, more ninjas. Mifune and Kozugi.
You even have rope traps.
Yes.
Don't you mean Kusanagi?
No. Kusanagi is the health of my sword that's a Vinjova. You know how the weapons
the weapons.
Yeah, the weapons in Streets of Rage have always had a limited number of uses. However, for this game, they decided to, through a life bar of their own, tell us how much longer for the weapon we can use. So there you go, Jova. Now the weapons also have life bars. So
Neat.
There's that.
Cyclone.
Oh, there you go. See, you could you could have put Cyclone in the biker level. Maybe they were planning to, but when they dropped the hack, they just left it as it was. Anyway, all right, let's continue. Shiba.
I swear there's a character from a show that I've called Chiba.
All right.
I don't know. But no, going back to what I mentioned also, I think in the previous part, I was mentioning briefly about the schizophrenic nature of the releases of the Shinobi games. Yeah, I did check. Most of the early ones are mostly known for an arcade release. The first one had some ports, but the arcade version is the more known one. But only with Shinobi 3 actually took off. Then there was the Saturn one, then some of the portable ones, which are not really memorable. Then the duology for the PS2, the one with Hotsuma and Hibana. And then the last thing that Sega did with the franchise was a 2011 reboot on the 3DS that not many people cared about. Because it was, I think, in the launch time of the 3DS, where not many people cared about the games released around the time, and we haven't touched the series since, so who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe that'll get the treatment that some of their older IPs will be getting.
Could, there is potential. The Shinobi is still being represented also in crossover in the meantime, so it's not like he has been completely forgotten. Especially it was a bit higher than Streets of Rage in terms of, being represented or being left out. But it was still, in the same bin. Oh, more Robo-X's.
Well, not quite Robo-X's. These are less powerful robots, the MKs.
Look at them go.
They see me rolling. They hate them.
Seriously.
Also, it's interesting how the games around this era, at least from Sega themselves, this and Shinobi used hand-drawn 2D sprites, whereas after this, the Shinobi game that came out on the Saturn only used them bloody what's it called, like in Mortal Kombat?
Digitized
actors. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess it was
technically it's still sprites there. They're just they're sprites created from digitized actors.
Well, yeah, Dweebs mentioned, but yeah, I guess it was just Sega wanted to showcase the power of the Saturn, so making things different.
Also, those scientists running away in the background.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, was at the cost of I mentioned the music, but it's not necessarily so. How they organized it was that how CD-based games have Red Book audio. It's just the track playing from the CD.
Yeah.
How Shinobi on Saturn worked was that all the music aside from on the start menu credits used the Saturn sound chip.
And I think it's not that great.
The Japanese one isn't.
Oh yeah, I know about the music, but I was referring to the sound bite quality.
That's the thing, though. Both Japanese and European soundtracks use the sound chip, and yet the European one sounds a hell of a lot better than the Japanese.
Yeah, that was I was referencing. Oh shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, this is Dr. Zero.
Dr. Zero, one of the original names.
He's the head scientist.
They're doing a disaster.
He's the head scientist of the Syndicate, and he's gonna fight us with this thing.
Mechanical, the claw.
Basically, yeah.
By the way, Castle Crashers also has a boss that's very similar to this.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to hit when you're on a constantly moving conveyor belt.
Basically, the primary idea is try to do your best. There you go. Try to do your best to be somewhere near him when he comes down, so that you can try to get as many hits as you can. Go ahead, too.
Also, Doctor, you wanna do something about your hair? If you look like it exploded.
But Teo, he's a mad scientist. I mean,
of course.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the point of being a mad scientist if you can't look the part? I mean.
There's being a mad scientist, and then there's that.
Get the fuck out.
Okay, he's not quite to that level, but seriously though, how does he function with that hair?
I've seen weirder hairstyles, to be honest.
It still does not excuse that hairdo. Ow!
It looks like one of the ends of a broom. You know, it takes it takes art to keep the hair straight in that kind of way.
Indeed. Alright, almost done, and there we go. I think. Oh, never mind. Like,
Axel, what are you doing?
by only 1 health point. God damn it. God damn it, you piece of crap arm. There we go. And of course it makes him explode.
Well, well, well. Welcome again, gentlemen and lady. I've been awaiting your arrival. Unfortunately, because of you, I am disembodied. Please pardon my unpleasant appearance.
You're literally a
Mr.
brain
Rat.
in a jar.
Your scheme's in here!
So there you go. So there you go.
I'm afraid you're too late.
So there you go, Theo. Mr. X is now Dr. Willow.
With Rakushin bombs. Surely you understand what that means, don't you?
Complete
If I
global
detonate them,
saturation.
full-scale war is unavoidable. Allow me to demonstrate.
Okay. I have a question, Mr. X. What would we even gain from that? The Rakushin will explode in 3 minutes. What do you think you gain from this? If we destroy the support
it's
systems...
simple. If he destroys the city, then that'll cause the forces to cause for more Rakushin to try and retaliate. He'll probably steal the forces since he controls everything.
Not just that, he's literally a brain in a jar. At this point, I'm pretty sure he's just pissed off and wants humanity to end.
Okay.
So now we fight Neo-X. So it turns out the bad guy really was Mr. X.
So yeah, this is the ending that happens if you don't... I must have scrapped somewhere of my editing in the previous part. Allow me to... This game. Right now, we're in the timeline of what happens if you don't save the general. If you don't save the general, you end up going towards the particular path that we're at right now. Meaning we'll end up finding Mr. X's brain, and we have to fight this android called Neo-X. And from this particular path, you can have 2 different endings: the super duper good ending, or if you don't manage to beat Neo-X before Mr. X manages to launch the missiles, you'll get kind of somber ending. Not a flat-out bad ending, but a more somber ending because you didn't manage to save people from the missiles. So let's see.
Mr. X really doesn't know when to quit.
Yeah, like Mr. X decided to go full Dr. Willow on us, except he's not trying to take over Axel's body, at least. Could you imagine, Terry, if he tried that? And there we go.
7.
Freeze frame!
Alright, so we managed...
this causes the brain to shatter its jaw.
I don't know how. So there we go.
Consciousness.
So there we go, we managed to do it before
just in time.
with 1 minute and 10 to spare, brother.
Beep. You won't escape alive. Everyone, get out of here. This base is going to blow up.
Of course.
It's no use, Axel. None of the doors will open.
It's no use.
Please, check the computer terminal over there. See if you can unlock the doors. Go ahead.
Understood. Oh, give me my all. It's useless. The security protocol is
What?
Running out of time.
I'm sorry, the timing.
Quit whining, Sabby. The phony general is already in custody.
Way to go, big bro. I say that as we're about to blow up.
And they all died.
Gotta love that line. The security protocols are too strong.
Not just that, the immediate lines between each other. Oh, I'll give you my all, and 1 second later, oh, it's too strong.
The Rakushin Calamity, born of both wisdom and ignorance.
Excuse me.
That's called the bustle of daily life has wiped the event from everyone's mind. Oh yeah, surely. Clearly, this was...
Is this read by the Ultimate Warrior?
You're telling me that the city just up and forgot about an event where so many people died?
Apparently,
It's really like Persona 5.
except Dweebs, in this case, there's not an aspect of Yeova trying to, wipe the memories of the people.
And that was Bare Knuckle III's one of two, basically the best ending you could get.
But even then, it's just there. Characters staying on a blue screen, a slideshow, and credits move. Like, for a game that prides itself on having such a deeper plot, the ending just blows.
Well, Teo, maybe the other endings will be better.
Also, director Yui. Just Yui.
That's the thing too. I get the feeling these little drawings for the credits are supposed to give you some closure when it comes to that.
I guess, yeah.
Axel went
Maybe
back to being a martial artist. With training with training with Adam. There you go.
Oh, I guess these credits are for the people responsible behind the ROM hack.
I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a while since I played the original. And there you go. That's and Blaze, I guess, took a vacation. This bathing suit is a bit censored in the Western version because obviously this reveals too much skin for Sega of America standards, I guess.
Back in the day, anyway.
What was Sega Europe was like with this?
Well, the Sega of Europe was most likely just going along with whatever Sega of America did anyway. So.
Well, at least for the most part. Yeah, I can imagine for this particular series, especially because I don't think it's mentioned from where I checked about exceptions for the European version.
Yeah, Sega of Europe over the years has had a history of rebelling. Because, like I mentioned, there was the Shinobi soundtrack change.
Not to mention, there's a lot of Game Gear and Master System versions. A couple of them were exclusive for Europe, and North America did not get them.
So yeah, here's another thing that a lot of people don't seem to bring up. Yuzo Koshiro was only the music producer of this game. The Motohiro Kawashima was the actual composer. So even though Koshiro did supervise, he didn't actually compose this one.
Well, still a good replacement in case.
And Kawashima also returned for 4, along with Koshiro. And others.
More like a
there you go. Did you see one of the voice actors, Saruman? So there you go. Apparently Saruman was a voice actor for Streets of Rage 3.
Maybe voices Zen, considering there is a bit of Christopher. So.
It's amazing.
You do not seriously think that a police could do anything against Mr. X? No one can. There's none who can. Sorry. There you go. Fun. So there you go, too. Everybody lived happily ever after. So that's the ending.
Or is it?
Also, who's the guy on the left?
I think it's Max, maybe from the.
He didn't show up in this game.
I don't know. Like it's weird. Like I didn't get that. Oh well, top 10 players.
Wow, it's not enough that you're first, but.
Alright, so now let's actually say the general for reals. Go ahead, too.
Are you really General Petrov?
All things considered, you look well, Ivan.
Well, fuck you too, then. Oh, Gilbert, I'm afraid I'm in a most unpresentable condition.
Huh? You know each other? And you said Gilbert.
Didn't you know? This is the man who discovered Rakushin. Dun
dun dun dun.
We became close friends during our days in the military. His research was never intended to be used in this way. Also, dude, poison gas. Yeah, exactly.
That's enough. That's enough talking.
Poison gas. Get the fuck out of the building.
Let's get out of this place.
There's a secret elevator here that we can use.
How convenient.
Oh, how convenient.
And then we're safe in that room.
So there you go. I just wanted to show that. So, okay, this time, me and my brother, we allowed the timer to run out before we beat Neo X. So let's see what happens when we don't beat Neo X in time.
You blow up.
Well, let's see.
Return to Mr. X.
Well, let's see, Dwips. God damn it, Neo X.
These boys fast.
Yeah, Neo X decided to go full ape shit during this.
Full SNK final boss time.
There we go.
There we go.
Ow, 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 ow!
I just love all the freeze frame for the round clear. Like, as even like the end of a sitcom.
Damn it! Didn't we stop him in time? We must escape quickly and try to stop the war. Yeah!
It's a bit too late for that, guys, I think, at this point.
Won't you? You're going down with me!
Everyone, get out of here. This place is going to explode. Also, how the hell does a brain talk without the... whatever?
Please, check the computer terminal over there. See if you can unlock the doors.
Yeah, we already know how this goes. Except this time it's Axel saying it.
I'll give it my all. It's useless. The security protocols are too strong.
Ah, we're running out of time.
Quit whining, Sammy. The phony general is already in custody.
Way to go, big bro.
Oh, nice. Alright, let's see if you like this ending better, too. And there we go. Let's see how the ending is this time.
Damn.
Oh, remember we didn't stop the missiles, so thanks to the efforts of Axel and the others, a full-scale war was averted. However, the devastation caused by the Rakushin left terrible scars in its wake.
Everyone's
the whole
died.
thing got destroyed. So that's the ending. The city gets blown up.
Basically, yeah.
Damn.
Oh, that's okay. The characters apparently,
Destroyed.
but that's okay, Debs. The characters are still living their daily lives as usual, apparently.
What, and blowing up buildings.
Well, okay. To be fair, it's not the entire city got destroyed, but there were some scars, shall we say?
Yeah.
They're repair.
Let's speed this up.
Damn it, we're not gonna make it. Let's speed up.
Wait, that's what he sounds like. It's giving me Doki Doki flashbacks.
It's like speeding up everything produces these effects.
Yeah, it's the way he does it as well.
The end.
Hang on, how come the city was rebuilt?
Well, there's the
Maybe it's thanks to LexCorp, I believe.
there's the my emulator has a speed up function. So anyway, back to this is how it happens when you don't save the general. Nah, sorry, no dice.
I see. Please continue search for it. We'll find the phony general.
So who could this phony general be? Roger, be careful.
I wonder.
Round 7 start.
So there you go.
Wait.
If we don't save the general, oh sorry, don't save the general. Sorry, don't save the general. Sorry. God, I actually hold on. Let me gather my thoughts real quick.
So not saving the general gets you a motorcycle level.
No, it's not.
Another one.
It's not.
I mean, okay. I'm assuming that this one wasn't cut, or was this one also
No,
cut?
this particular one was also cut. Yes, the two they were supposed to be. Remember, it's the same level at the end of the day. It's just the difference is that this time you're fighting mostly barrels rather than bikers. Let me just
remember, Pedro, in the previous the cutscene where we got in the previous part was when we rescued the general.
Yeah, I know.
This one is not. So...
I know. It's just that the order. I screwed up the order when it came to editing this shit. So let me just gather my notes real quick so I can properly explain this.
Anyway, well, I have to say, I'm kind of impressed that, they actually made completely different levels for, how you pick different routes. Like, for a game in this time, that was... Okay, it wasn't
It was definitely
unheard of.
ambitious, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Let me just...
Oh, snap! Well, he crashed.
That's okay, Drova. The comic effect managed to not kill it.
Now let's brave the political office building.
Alright, oh yeah, it is. I was right. Yeah, it's because of the way I edited it. It got me confused. Yes, yeah, exactly. Basically, the two endings we saw up until now, those are the two endings that happens when you do manage to rescue the general. However, if you allow the general to die, that's when you'll see ending 3, which is the ending we're about to see. The ending 4 being the Western exclusive bad ending that we already saw.
Also, I guess there was some sprite flickering.
Basically, what happened was the level glitched out a bit. However, that's okay, because one cool thing that the guys who made this hack also did is that the level select from the original game is available from the beginning. You don't even have to enter the code. However, Theo, if you do enter the code, you get this incredibly elaborate level select code that allows you to pick start from a specific section of a round. So that's pretty cool, actually. It made my recording process a lot easier. So thanks to guys. All right, finding more agents. Mr. Stone, we're here to try to take from you what you're trying to take from us.
Wow, bronze and silver.
Yeah.
Must suck to be the one named bronze compared to silver and gold.
Especially called bronze's name is incomplete. The E is missing.
It's more cool.
So he's brone.
Yeah. So basically, everybody, the idea is that the route that you go through depends on whether or not you rescue the general. That's the basic gist of it. Take that, Gloria.
And that too, Electra.
Alright. So basically, now we're right up to the White House. So yeah, there you go, guys. Apparently, at least it kind of looks like it's apparently supposed to mock up the White House. So there you go, everybody. Apparently, the phony general that's been framing Axel this whole time is somewhere in the White House. So let's see exactly who we're dealing with. In the meantime, I brought up
pointing them in beat with the music.
Yeah, that's because, again, this is the common trick that between Streets of Rage 2 and 3, there's the stun lock that allows you to just keep hitting the enemy. There you go.
And then you got a beat in which to do it to.
And there you go. Bye, Thundra. Alright. Oh, and look at that. We have even the statues and everything in Harlem and Nasty.
Harlem.
And Swam.
Oh God, please tell me one of them isn't called Shake.
Doesn't seem like it, no. Vice, Sway. What? Sway.
Vice.
Okay, so no Shake.
Although Sway could be considered a synonym for Shake.
So I guess the idea is still there.
Yeah. Maybe they were being cute.
Well, like I said, yeah, all the enemies in Big Ben. Oh, there's a fat guy called Big Ben. How nice.
And the other fat guy is called Heart.
The first game, I think.
Wait, one of the guys is called Heart. He's
no.
fat, and we're attacking him.
Oh, I know that too. It's just that they didn't actually start getting names until the second game, and this is the first one that we've gotten that actually is called Big Ben. So
again, the other fat guy was called Heart. He was dressed in red, and we were attacking him. Ah, we gave him a heart attack.
All right, take that gold and bronze. And
He's
silver.
literally called Heart. Well, I don't. Wow.
Even.
All right. Let's just
Go
keep
on.
Also, the sprite quality for that painting in the background is actually pretty elaborate, I would have to say.
It is. So let's see. There's the funny general. Let's see.
Stop the press!
Go ahead, Theo.
And now I have an important announcement to make. Shadow the Hedgehog is a bitch-ass liar. I have decided to initiate sanctions against the detonations. His measure was just approved by the General Assembly.
This sham of a speech ends right now! That general is an imposter!
What you say? You there? Escort them out of there at once.
Pretty stubborn for a fraud, huh? The police have the real general.
Oh, it's Shiva.
It's Shiva. Go ahead, Jova.
It's Shiva! Come on, Axel. Let's settle this once and for all.
So there you go. Now Shiva is the new bad guy.
Wow, it really is a bonanza of returning foes.
So there you go. Depending on the route, you either fight Shiva as your final boss or Mr. X as a brain.
Also, please, people in the audience, stop, filming us. It's kind of distracting.
Are you kidding? This will be great for the news network. The ratings will be
Don't
wild.
try this at home, kids.
Please.
Children, the scene that you're about to see may be most disturbing, but if you do find it awesome, by all means, watch with a responsible grown-up.
So yeah, turns out Shiva was the one trying to frame Axel.
So basically, a press conference turned into ultra fighting.
There you go.
Sure, why not? I'm pretty
Wow.
sure that would make a lot of presidential announcements more exciting.
So Teo, did you find the bad missile ending a bit better?
It's not just that. I'm talking about it now. It's presented. It was just one steal, and there you go, and then credits.
And wow,
It doesn't help, but not much changes. Also, there was just a tiny bit of help in the other section of Shiva. Weird.
Now, you fraud! Tell me where Mr. X is hiding! Come on!
No.
Come on!
You expect me to talk? Ugh! I guess it's...
No, I expect you to die.
Mr. X, can you hear me? No matter what you do... He's talking to the cameras, I'm guessing. I will smash your schemes completely!
And then he smashes
Completely! And that's the ending.
Oh. Sort of ending, eh?
Oh, in the shadows.
And Mr. X was still watching.
Yeah. So basically, as you can see, what Sega of America did is they reused the bit from this ending, coupled with the Robo X death cutscene. And question mark? Yes. So yeah, it's pretty obvious that when Sega of America took the original ROM, they reused this particular ending and repurposed the Robo X picture to create that new bad ending. That's exclusive to the American and European versions. So yeah, I can see the how they did it at least. So that's at the very least something.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. These endings are not that great when you get down to it. But let me segue this into the final thoughts. Like I mentioned, gameplay-wise, this is just more of the same. The new character introduced in the form of Zen is actually pretty, enjoyable. And the way the super moves are a bit rebalanced is also nice. But and even the difficulty seems on par with beat 'em ups, of course. Aside from the thing that we noticed that, for example, the female enemies take a while to get out for the sake of, for some reason, immersion. I don't know. I don't think it fits. But no, there's also the fact that the narrative tries to be more bigger, have a bigger scope, try to, have this sort of finale, aspect to the entire trilogy. The fact that Mr. X has returned once for all, one last showdown for all time's sake and everything. And then for the ending portion, it just peters out. You get your explanation technically, so you're not missing out, but it's just poof, and after you're done, one screen, one very simple text, and then slideshow of the credits. That's it. It should have been elaborated a bit more. And keep in mind, the technology was there to do it. I need to remind you that, forgot the name specifically, but the creator of Ninja Gaiden showcased that on the fucking NES, it could showcase almost very elaborate cutscenes,
Yeah.
So the Sega Mega Drive Genesis had literally no excuse to present something similar. And I'm not talking, but I'm also reasonable. I'm not talking that I needed full motion videos or anything like that. Just, just a couple of more screenshots, a bit more narration. Sure, the kids that buy your product can actually handle reading a bit more. They're not stupid, and then there you go. Give a satisfied conclusion and all. And probably, if it was actually elaborated better, maybe not as many people would have clamored a return to the franchise because, it would have felt very more conclusive. This is not helped by the butchering that Sega of America did to the franchise, which I still understand what was the point of it. If it was still just something like changing the color of Axel's shirt because you wanted to match the cover, the American cover of the first game, fine, but it's just just a pet peeve of you. But changing entire story portions and dialogue translation and everything, now that's just being a dick. It's a reason why hacks like these need to happen, because the people have also potential right to know what the original product was, some kind of fashion. So it is admittedly a mess, but I still think there is some charm to this franchise, and I'm glad that it's still continuing to these days thanks to the effort of both the fans and eventually Sega, who actually approved finally a fourth title that we got recently.
Yeah,
so we'll see how things go in that one. But in the meantime, next.
Yeah, this is probably the weakest in the original trilogy to me, because unlike the second game, which did bring about quite a good step ups in terms of the gameplay, this one just kind of plays it safe and doesn't really bring anything really new to the table. Really, it just kind of it just kind of introduces a new little bar that allows you to that encourages you to save your super moves and not spam them as much, but it's minimal. Like, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, to be honest. So the gameplay is basically, when you get right down to it, is just Streets of Rage 2 again, which, don't get me wrong, that's perfectly fine. It's just that I personally think they could have really introduced some. How about bring back the cars? The cars from the first game were cool. I kind of wish we could have brought that back for the third game, to be honest. That would have been
There wasn't huge demand for them, I guess.
I guess, yeah. Again, it's just, I guess it's just one of those cases where people prefer beat 'em ups to have these super moves and stuff. But it's like I said before, I kind of preferred the cars because, again, it was a way to really distinguish the gameplay from Final Fight and make it more Final Fight-ish. I think kind of defeats the purpose. Honestly, it's personally, I think the cars gave the original game a unique little thing that its competition didn't really have. So I'm still a bit miffed now that we had to lose them. And from what I've seen, apparently 4 doesn't bring them back either. So yeah, I guess the cars are definitely dead.
I mean, okay. I'll admit you're the first person I've heard who's really asked for the cars back, so maybe that's the case. I mean, maybe there is a fan base of the cars. I just haven't seen them.
Oh, sure. Like, it's just a matter of the fact that I still think Streets of Rage 1 is still my personal favorite because it's the one I've played the most, and one that I find to be the overall most charming in terms of it's simple, but it has a very special charm to it that I really enjoy. And like I said, the car, I still think because pretty much every scrolling beat 'em up at the time had this mechanic of the super move that takes away some of your life, So, but Streets of Rage 1 did go against that trend and actually did something different. And the fact that they threw that away in the second game for, again, just going along with what was the trend, I don't know. I kind of felt that was a step back, if you ask me still. But that's just me. The point, regardless, the game is still a very perfectly solid scrolling beat 'em up. The plot is a fucking mess that makes no goddamn sense. It's terrorism. It's blowing up. It's conflict between believing in Zen that goes absolutely nowhere. The general the general is kind of useless, really. He doesn't really do anything. He's just there to be saved.
Or to be the decoy when Shiva impersonates him.
Well, yeah, I guess. I still don't quite understand what exactly was Shiva's long-term plan. I'm gonna frame Axel, okay? What then?
Well, I think the idea
was
wanted vengeance on Axel for the most part.
Not just that, the idea was he was hoping that Axel would have been arrested, therefore a crucial point would not be, him being able to put a dent in the plans of the Syndicate.
The interesting thing is that, okay, the ending with Shiva does imply that Zan is going to go after Mr. X. So it does imply that after ending 3, endings 1 and 2, ending 1 will still happen because Zan swears that he's going to catch Mr. X. I get that. But the endings, but endings 1 and 2, when we fight against Mr. X, don't ever address the fact that Shiva is the funny general. So yeah, Shiva pretty much drops from the plot if you go through the first route. So yeah, like it feels like they said, you know what? Okay, we'll have Shiva be the alternate final boss, I guess. So, which is cool, I guess. I just wish there would be some acknowledgement that Shiva was the one behind all the Axel being betrayed thing. Sorry, being framed thing, to be honest. But no, you had to go through the second route to get ending 3 to learn that. But I guess you can argue that, well, that's the whole idea, you know, you replay value and shit. I guess I just think this story could have been a bit more tightened up.
You know, Jova, what's funny?
What?
The fact that for being included in interdimensional crisis that involves literal dozens of characters and, you know, a lot of franchises, the representation of Streets of Rage in Project Growth 2 and 2 actually does make more sense with the plot of this game.
Yeah.
For the context, Pedro, because it's actually very easy to simplify. We actually simplified it a lot. Axel shows up because the Breaker robots start showing up in mass with some RoboX and starts planting Raxinium bombs on one particular ship, which is a callback instead to Streets of Rage 2. Eventually, they team up with the bad guys, blah, blah, blah. And at the end, it's revealed that Mr. X had implanted his consciousness in one of the Breaker robots, and Axel just defeats him for good. That's it. It's actually more simplified, but it actually summarizes the Axel being framed and Mr. X returning, you know, beat much better than this, even when the stakes are actually higher.
Go figure.
All right, so the music. Well,
sorry.
The music is still really good. So I still prefer to me the first game soundtrack. I haven't heard 4 soundtracks, so I'll hold off on that for me. But of the original trilogy, my favorite soundtrack is still the first game soundtrack, because the first game soundtrack is just pure gold. So yeah, definitely that's the best for me. Like, and the graphics look pretty much exactly like Streets of Rage 2 graphics. It doesn't seem like they're doing. I mean, there's a bit more detail to it. They can tell, but aside from that, there's not that much to talk about the graphics, and that's about it. Dwips.
It's okay, but well, I mean, Streets of Rage isn't really something I play anyway. And judging from what I've seen of this one, and well, the other 2, it's like I said, it's fine. Although I'm not really sure what the hell the story was about, and some of the weirdly translated is interesting.
But don't you see there's the security protocol? But don't you see there's the security protocols are too strong? Whatever the hell that means.
Why not just say I can't crack the security?
Also, I didn't know that Blaze was the certified tech whiz of the group. I thought Zan would have been the one more qualified to deal with them.
I get
Blaze is.
To answer your question, I get the feeling this is clearly a fan translation in every sense of the word. Instead of properly localizing the dialogue and making it sound good in English, they just did a literal translation. Because my guess is Blaze's original line in the Japanese script probably sounds a lot better in Japanese. And they should have reworded that phrase to make it sound better in English. Again, this is exactly what I keep talking about. Like, translating is a bit harder than just, you know, translating the words literally. You have to actually think about how good a sentence sounds in the language you're localizing it to, because it's not that. Because when you do a literal translation like this, you get lines that sound really off and weird. So yeah, go ahead and finish.
That's about it. It's fine, but
yeah.
Okay then.
All right, go ahead, Jova.
Yeah, honestly, I enjoyed this game. I mean, if anything, I'll admit I kind of got a kick out of how hokey the story was. Now, granted, that doesn't necessarily make it legitimately good. I don't know. Maybe it's because I've seen crazier, but the story felt, you know, fine enough for me. I mean, if anything, I was a bit entertained with how with how dramatic the overall dialogue was. That said, they did try to raise the stakes in there. I mean, granted, the gameplay and premise are pretty much the same, but introducing literally that stuff that levels cities and kills that many people was an interesting way. Like, there's one thing I'll say this game is, it's definitely ambitious in its production values. I enjoyed the music. Maybe not my favorite of the Streets of Rage soundtracks, but still a pretty good one. Mr. X once again cannot learn to take the hint and comes back to life. Now has literally a brain in a jar. Holy cow.
Have you ever seen the second Dragon Ball Z OVA, Jova?
Yes, the world's strongest. Yeah, I have.
Dr. Will. So it's literally the Dr. Willow storyline.
Except he's not trying to steal Axel's body.
Yeah, that's literally the only thing missing for it to be.
Even as the Doctor sidekick.
I know, right? But yeah, overall, I'd say that this game was pretty much fun, you know? I mean, I'd say, I got about as much enjoyment out of this as I did the other Streets of Rage games, so yeah, overall, I had a good time.
Alright, that was Streets of Rage for everybody. Eventually, I'll get around and we'll finally record Streets of Rage 4, so be on the lookout for that. See you then.
See you then.